Hello, students. A very good afternoon to all of you. It was so just to tell you that why I have written modern age here. The reason is again the same, that I have to cover up few left authors of your Victorian era also, which I'll be doing in the next few days. But somewhere I thought that I should also start with the modern age, so that those students who are continuously studying, they should also be knowing what is modern age and what are the authors to be read with the modern age. इन दिस वे आपकी जो पढ़ाई है वो कॉन्टिन्यूस प्रोसेस में रहेगी और थोड़ा सा फास्ट आप अपने स्टडी मटेरियल से भी कवर अप कर सकते हैं. एंड in the future days, I will also cover up some of the important authors which are left in the Victorian era. And yes, I also remember to cover that Biographia Literaria, which I did not read it. So I'm not exactly ready with Biographia Literaria for today. Once I will read it properly, because I have to discuss many things in that: imagination, fancy, lyrical ballads, Biographia Literaria chapters, and so many things. So once I am good enough to give you that lecture, I will 100% give you very soon. So today we are going to start with modern age. So students, this century, what is this century? This century begins before the end of the 19th century से ही पहले शुरू हो जाती है. And by the end of the 19th century, the pre-industrial economy and the way of life had almost disappeared. And by 1910 or 1911, approximately 70% of the countries lived in the urban areas. And what happened? The thing is that modern age को define करना बहुत आसान नहीं है. The reason is the first and the second world wars, 1914 to 1918, and 1939 to 1945 respectively. This period marks in time and their effect, the moments, the depression, the so many things, and which happened on a very global scale. As far as industrialization, urbanization, it also had their own problems. And they have problems like the problems of overcrowding, the problems of housing shortage, increase in the vices, the crimes, and falling in the standards of the sexual moralities, and yes, a lot of increasing ugliness all over the area. So what happened? The atmosphere grew more smoky, more noisy, more chaotic, and yes, the city slums raised their ugly heads on all the quarters, all the sections. And so the early 20th century poetry reflects all these evils which are affecting the industrialization, and which is clearly brought out in the famous poem, the epical poem of the entire century, that is T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, which was published in 1922. This modern age opened at a time of moral perplexity and too much of uncertainty, and the rise of the scientific spirit led to the questioning of accepted social beliefs and traditions. At the end of the 19th century and at the beginning of the 20th century, we found a list of great writers like G.B. Shaw, H.G. Wells, and Galsworthy. And all these great writers criticized the very basis of the existing social, economic, and moral system. We came to know about Virginia Woolf, James Joyce, D.H. Lawrence, who remained so much significant in this century. Poetry from the pen of Thomas Hardy, W.B. Yeats, up to T.S. Eliot, and yes, W.H. Auden will we actually read for centuries together. And the modern age, under the impact of science, had developed or witnessed a gradual decline of religious faith. Religious controversies no longer exercised any significant influence on the public issues. Moral, ethical values were no longer regarded as absolute. You must have read a work, A Passage to India by E.M. Foster. E.M. Foster क्या बताता है? E.M. Foster की जो Passage of India है, it actually advocates relationships between nations as well as between the individuals. The modern age witnessed a great rise in literacy as well. The reason was cheap books, magazines, paper, all these things became very popular, and yes, the result of the spread of education became so fast, so universal, and yes, there was decline in quality, which was to be seen properly. The old culture of the people expressing in folk dance, expressing in folk songs, also was destroyed totally. The popular literature full of crime, the radio, the cinema, love stories, exploited people for commercial purposes only, for money minting. And because commercialization was the main target, it increased a lot of vulgarity, it increased a lot of brutality and even coarseness. Human relationships became cheap. Man became incapable of understanding the emotional responses. And the 20th century begins actually around 1890. Why? Because Queen Victoria's decline in position in 1887 was felt as the era, as the end of the era. उनका जो पोजीशन था वो 1887 के आसपास डिक्लाइन होना शुरू हो गया था. इसलिए ऐसा माना जाता है कि जो 20th सेंचुरी है वो एक्चुअली बिगिन होती है 1890 के आसपास. चार्ल्स डार्विन की ऑन द ओरिजिन ऑफ स्पीशीज, it actually created a revolution in the society, because this work puts the existence of God into a very big question mark. And Queen Victoria's reign began to disintegrate. It is less easy to define the 20th century because of the two world wars, and their effects made rapid changes on the global stage. Moreover, modernism, essentially post Darwinism, Darwin के बाद, is a search to explain mankind's place in the modern world, where religion, where social stability and ethics all were called into a big question mark. And thus, it resulted in a lot of experimentation. The working of the unconscious mind became an important subject, and all traditional forms began to lose their place. तो जब हम अपनी पारंपरिक ट्रेडिशनल चीजों को खत्म कर रहे थे तो वो बात रही नहीं गई. 20th century poetry क्या थी? 20th century poetry was actually a blending of the experiments, the traditional, the complex, and many other facets of the society. And this new era, characterized by a number of outputs, and which was actually resulting in the lowering of the quality, and thereby could not achieve that high standard, which was a revolt against tradition. And why it was a revolt against tradition? Because it was experimental. And undoubtedly, it is an age of great poetry, but not of dominating poets like Tennyson, Browning, Arnold, etc. And so we can say emphatically that there can be no masters in modern era, as there used to be masters in the Victorian era, the Romantic era, or the Elizabethan era. The new poetry is a poetry of revolt, resulting from the impact of science, which can be seen both in the form and content of the poetry. And it is again very different from the decadent romantic tradition, which is best written and shown by nobody else but T.S. Eliot. Modern poetry is characterized by the use of colloquial diction and prosaic words. Now we will talk about realism and pessimism. Why? Because this new poetry, which is actually realistic, and the poet's consciousness of the grim realities, the sordid realities of life, has shattered all the illusions and all the romantic dreams. The tragedy of everyday life has induced in the poetry a mood of disillusionment. Bhram hamara toot chuka tha. And so the poetry today is bitter and pessimistic. The pessimism of modern poets is even more than the pessimism of Hardy, because it deals with the dark realities of life and there is nothing sentimental about it. And the best example, if you read The Wasteland, which is reflecting the tragic gloom of the post-world wars, where the poet looks at life without the spectacle of romance and has painted it in full form up as far as the ugliness is concerned. They had also the capacity of laughter, and even in the works of the most pessimistic poets, we find wit, we find satire, we find humor, and even jokes. Sometimes serious subjects are treated in poetry of W.H. Auden and others in a tone of flippancy. They were also very much interested in the metaphysical poets. As far as the influence of science, religion, and mysticism, there has been always, or we can say there has been, a revival of interest in the poetry of Donne. That is why T.S. Eliot was very much influenced by Donne's poetry. And that is why we find metaphysics, metaphysical elements entering into the poetry of T.S. Eliot. In T.S. Eliot, we also find the far-fetched imageries, the same bringing together of opposites to startle the readers, to surprise the readers, and to capture the attention of the readers. And yes, much of Auden's poetry too reminds us of the metaphysical poetry. Dark, or despite this dark, sordid realities of life of this age, there runs a vein of romanticism in modern poetry, which has filtered through the pre-Raphaelite and the decadence of the 1950s. Masefield का नाम आपने सुना होगा, Masefield and W.B. Yeats. They would like to escape into a fairyland, and love, which has always been a dominant theme of all the romantics, it did not die altogether. You must have heard the name of a great poet, Robert Bridges. He has also left behind him a lot of love lyrics. And W.B. Yeats has been called one of the greatest love poets of the 20th century. And under the influence of three great French symbolists, इनका नाम अक्सर पूछा जाता है एग्जाम में, under the influence of these three great French symbolists, Laforgue, Verlaine, and Mallarme. Laforgue, Verlaine, and Mallarme. Poets like Yeats, like Eliot, have made extensive use of symbolism because they were influenced by these French symbolists, these three people. Clear? Now, we will also tell about the modern poets who were always in a habit of experimenting. New verse forms, new techniques poetic, new slangs, new colloquial themes were becoming common. The rule of rhyming, the rule of meter, stresses, etc. are followed according to the emotions and not according to the rules of the century. There are three new innovations. You can note it down, and these three things you will find in my study material also in detail. Impressionism, Imagism, Surrealism are some of the new innovations of the 20th century poetry. Impressionism, Imagism, and Surrealism. इम्प्रेशनिज्म या इम्प्रेशनिस्ट क्या होता है? ये लोग क्या करते हैं? दे सीक टू कन्वे द वॉयज, द फ्लीटिंग सेंसेशंस passing through their minds by the use of a novel imagery. Impressionism. Imagist was a movement, imagism जिससे बना है, headed by Ezra Pound. And this imagist movement or imagism aims at clarity of expression through the use of accurate and definite images. How and why? To convey their intellectual and emotional complexes. And surrealist, they try to express whatever passes in the subconscious or even the unconscious without any control of the conscious. Yes, surrealism movement tha. Clear, students? So now we will come to the Georgian poetry. Georgian poetry means the ruler was George. You must have heard the name of W.H. Davis. W.H. Davis was one of the poets among other poets who contributed an anthology. उसका नाम था Georgian Poetry, whose first volume appeared under the guidance of Rupert Brooke. Rupert Brooke के guidance में ये छपी थी Georgian Poetry, written by W.H. Davies. And the other contributors of this Georgian poetry are John Drinkwater, John Masefield, Robert Weers, and N. Flicker. I will repeat the name: John Drinkwater, John Masefield, Robert Weers, and N. Flicker. This was actually a revival of a new kind of romanticism. Why? Because they owe inspiration from the poets like Wordsworth and Blake. And they felt that they must follow this tradition inherited from the past to deal with the simple themes and the simple aspects of the all over life. And they were also very much interested and attracted towards the country life. Country life means village, gaon, nadi, nale, pahad, parvat, than the cities, than the urban towns, because they felt that it is offering more solace, more happiness, more contentment to the people who are actually disillusioned with the evils of the industrial and the mechanical age. And what is being offered by this countryside? Countryside offers you a freshness of beauty, which was the recompense in contrast to the artificial life of the town. आप बड़े शहरों को देख लीजिए और आप एक छोटे शहर में जाइए और भी छोटे शहर में जाइए, जितने गांव में, जितने इंटीरियर में जाएंगे, उतना आपको लगेगा कि आप नेचर से नजदीक हैं और आपको ऐसा फील होता है कि हे भगवान, कहां हम दिल्ली, बंबई, कलकत्ता में रह रहे हैं. So problematic. I should be here in a hut. So like William Blake, they believed in the innocence of childhood and lessons to be learned from the historical past. The only limitation to the Georgian poets was that they were not aware of the tensions and the conflicts of the contemporary period, which would lead to the ravages of the First World War. इनको पता ही नहीं था कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर में क्या ravages होने वाले हैं. And an important poet of this group was John Drinkwater, who also wrote about the countryside, who also wrote about the streams, the gardens, the pools, the birds, the flowers, and all these things have been celebrated in his poetry known as the Midlands. The Midlands. And as far as Imagist movement is concerned, T.A. Ulme, T.A. Hume कहते हैं उसको, T.E.H.U.L.M.E, T.E.H.U.L.M.E, T.E. Hume. He founded a poets club in 1908, and this movement grew out of friendship between Hume and T.S. Eliot, who along with other members used to meet in this club and discuss poetry. And what happened in 1909? Ezra Pound was introduced to this group or this club, and along with Hilda Doolittle and her husband Richard Adlington, Hilda Doolittle and Richard Adlington, The Images Manifesto was published in the American magazine known as Poetry in March 1913, which included an essay known as Imagism by T.S. Eliot. Sorry, Imagism by F.S. Flint. F.S. Flint. F.S. Flint. Good afternoon, all of you. I actually don't find time to look at my left hand side computer where your messages come. This I think I will repeat the entire one paragraph which I think I spoke and you could not listen. I started with the symbolist movement where I told you that this Arthur Simmons, in England, Arthur Simmons had brought out his book known as the Symbolist Movement in Literary Writings. इसने एक बुक लिखा था जिसका नाम है The Symbolist Movement in Literary Writings. And this book had a great and profound influence on T.S. Eliot. And with this help of this book, the English poet could acquaint themselves with the main trends of the symbolist movement. Clear? इसके बाद मैंने आपको बताया कि एड्स ने दो इंपॉर्टेंट एसेज लिखे हैं. एक का नाम है सिंबॉलिज्म इन पेंटिंग एंड द सिंबॉलिज्म ऑफ पोइट्री. क्लियर? इसके बाद उसका एक प्रोज वर्क है एड्स का जिसका नाम है अ विजन. It is a prose work which was also asked in the examination, and this was published in 1925. Clear? Now we will move towards the trends in modern poetry. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हमारा लेक्चर होगा जिसको ध्यान से सुनिएगा, क्योंकि मॉडर्न एज क्या है, इसमें भी पोइट्री का ही सबसे ज्यादा आपको वो मिलेगा, वर्चस्व मिलेगा। और सबसे बड़े पोइट्स भी आपको इसी में मिलेंगे, जैसे एट्स, एलियट एंड सम अदर्स ऑल्सो। बेसिकली मॉडर्न एज एक बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स एज है। इट इज फुल ऑफ कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, एंड 20th century poetry is actually a very curious mixture of the traditional as well as the experimental, the old and the new, with a lot of complexities and many sided performances. कई साइड है हर चीज का। And one of the leading characteristics of the poetry of the new era is what? Is the abundance of output. आउटपुट बहुत ज्यादा था। इसमें जो वैरायटी थी, जो क्वांटिटी थी of the publications was actually bewildering, and because of this output हमारी क्वालिटी डिक्रीज कर गई, and the modern temper is too individualistic. There can be no masters in the modern era, and each writes according to his own mood, according to his own temper, producing lot of poetry of merit along with a lot that is actually worthless. It is an age of anthologies which brings together the select work of several hands for the delight of the readers. मतलब कई हाथों ने मिलकर के एक एंथोलॉजी बनाई है, जिसमें कि आपको कुछ पसंद आती है, कुछ बहुत पसंद आती है, कुछ कम पसंद आती है और कुछ नहीं पसंद आती है। And this new poetry of the new age, that is the modern age, is a poetry of revolt, which is resulting largely because of the impact of science. And this revolt is very much exemplified in the poetry of T.S. Eliot, which I already told you. And the poetry of this age, of this life, is its naked realism, comes out with its naked realism, and even the most prosaic and the commonplace subjects are considered suitable. Clear? Moreover, the imagery, the vocabulary of the modern poet reflect the influence of science and scientific inventions. Realism in subject matter has led to the modern poetry to reject the highly ornate and the artificial poetic style of the romantics in favor of a language which resembles closely the language of everyday life. They are poets who have the pity for the poor and the suffering. Here we can say that nor does the modern poet love nature alone. He also loves and feels for the lower animals who are living in the lap of nature. He is also moved by their sufferings, and he makes a forceful plea. He makes a forceful plea for a more exact system to be written in his poetry. A deep feeling of love and joy of nature is a prominent characteristic feature of poets like W.H. Davies, Walter de la Mare, Edmund Blunden, etc. Sound अच्छा हो गया। Now, this new poetry is actually realistic, and the poet's consciousness of the grim realities of life has shattered all the illusions and the romantic dreams. The pessimism of the modern poet is more poignant and heartrending, even more than the pessimism of Hardy. And the Great War was never a shattering experience. Man lost faith in accepted values. And as a consequence, this note of bitterness is even more pronounced after the war. That is the wasteland. So just note it down, all these things. Just a second. Rudyard Kipling, 1865 to 1936. He was a poet of soldiers. He was a poet of sailors. And he wrote novels like Departmental Deities. Departmental. Departmental Deities. Barrack Room Ballads. The Seven Seas. The Five Nations, etc. So these are his important poems: Departmental Deities, Barrack Room Ballads, The Seven Seas, The Five Nations. Okay. A significant note which is to be found in Kipling's poetry is the glorification of British imperialism. He is a poet of England and the laureate of her empire. Imperialism finds a very clear-cut and unabashed voice in him, where he exulted in the achievements of his countrymen in founding the empire and did not care to emphasize the harsh and the cruel means they adopted to colonize the foreign lands. He is proud of the achievement of England and constantly harps on the white man's burden. He is narrowly nationalistic in his outlook, and his poetry has little metaphysical interest. What served as a philosophy of life in most of the Kipling's poetry was the conviction that Englishmen were divinely charged with the duty of enlightening the world. His attitude was partly domineering and partly that of a benevolent despot. Kaisa despot? Benevolent. And he has already shown skill. He was adept in the art as a craftsman, as a metrist, but he lacks that intensity of vision which results in great poetry. मतलब जो great poetry में जो vision, जो intensity होती है, सिर्फ किपलिंग वो लैक करता है. Clear? Two great pessimistic poets of the Edwardian era are Thomas Hardy and A. E. Housman. A.E. Houseman. इन दोनों की पोइट्री क्या है? It is an expression of the disillusionment resulting from the advance of science and the loss of faith in the traditional values. The pessimism, which is a characteristic feature of Hardy's fiction, also marks his poetry, and his poems reveal his acute consciousness of the miseries and the sufferings of human life. आप इसकी कोई भी नॉवेल उठा के पढ़ लीजिए. And as in his novels, so in his poetry, theme क्या है? It is human predicament and the suffering which is caused by man by the imperfections of the power that rules on high. Destiny strews joy and pain with a nerveless and purposeless hand, and this aimlessness makes human life a strange orchestra of victim. However, his pessimism is not an unrelieved one, for he believes that human lot can be made endurable through tact, through mutual sympathy, and wise social reforms. Now we come to the poetry of Houseman. Houseman की अगर हम बात करें, he is a big name. इसकी पोएम है एक जो इन्यूमरेबल टाइम्स नेट के एग्जाम में और टॉप लेवल एग्जाम्स में पूछी जाती है. इसकी जो पोइट्री है, इट एक्चुअली बेयर्स अ क्लोज कनेक्शन टू दैट ऑफ हार्डी. पोइट्री का जो कलेक्शन है, जो इसका आउटपुट है, वो है तो कम, बट इट वुड बी डिफिकल्ट टू फाइंड इवन अ सिंगल वीक लाइन इन हिज कलेक्टेड पोएम्स. मतलब जो भी इसने पोएम्स लिखी हैं, दो इट इज फ्यू इन नंबर्स, पोएटिक आउटपुट कम है, एक सिंगल भी वीक लाइन आपको नहीं मिलेगी. इससे बड़ी बात क्या हो सकती है? He has left behind him three immortal works. Three immortal works he has left behind him. पहला, A Shropshire Lad. A Shropshire Lad, which was written in 1896. Shropshire Lad. Then Last Poems and More Poems. Last Poems and More Poems. ये 1922 की है, वो 1936 की है. इसको नोट कर लीजिएगा. Last Poems and More Poems. इसकी जो पोइट्री है, दे आर कंसाइज, समटाइम्स एपिग्रामेटिक. एपिग्रामेटिक का मतलब ही होता है कंसाइज इन एक्सप्रेशन, एंड ऑलवेज easy to understand. And yes, the emotion is handled with a sureness of touch which never mars an effect by overemphasis. Houseman dealt in his poetry with primitive themes, and music came to him under the stress of emotion, but it was controlled by his scholarly sense for meter. He is also regarded as a pessimist. And in the presence, or we can say in the Houseman's love of nature, love for nature की अगर हम बात करें, that relieves much of the gloom and thinks of his pessimism. His nature poetry is refreshing. His affectionate portrayal of the lovely details of nature acts as an antiseptic. हमारे को जब कहीं कट पड़ जाता है तो हम क्या लगाते हैं? एंटीसेप्टिक लगाते हैं. सो जो उसका एफेक्शनेट पोर्ट्रेयल है लवली डिटेल्स ऑफ नेचर को अपनी पेन एंड कॉपी में, इट एक्ट्स एज एंटीसेप्टिक टू द ग्लूम ऑफ हिज फिलॉसफी. सो दिस वाज द कार्डर ऑफ A.E. Houseman. So all of you understood this modern age with all these details. Now when you will go and study with my files and with your own proper preparation, you will have a proper background and a proper subconscious, because listening affects a lot while you prepare something. So the last today, which I am going to discuss you here with, is Robert Bridges. He was also a poet who was essentially an artist and loved the artistic subjects like beauty, love, nature, which have always been the themes of his poetry. He is a great artist with words, and the stamp of the artist's pen is on every line of his words. ये बहुत बड़ी बात होती है. And as a lyric poet, he lacked the force and intensity of Shelley's lyric. तो शैली तो खैर शैली था, शैली को तो कोई मैच भी नहीं कर सकता है, तो उसके पास वो फोर्स, वो इंटेंसिटी नहीं थी जो शैली के पास थी. एज फार एज लिरिसिज्म इज कंसर्न, he had too much of artistic reserve and self control to aloft, to fly on the wings of lyric fancy. His lyrics are marked with artistic beauty, but the fire of passion and the heart of emotion do not kindle them. Robert Bridges is undoubtedly a poet of joy and optimism. आशावादी था. He accepts life cheerfully with all its vicissitudes and finds joy in the simplest beauties of life, beauty of nature, beauty of women, beauty of ideas. उसका एक वर्क है जो कि बहुत ही मॉन्यूमेंटल वर्क है, जिसका नाम है टेस्टामेंट ऑफ ब्यूटी. He is known for his Testament of Beauty, which is a monumental work where he is expressing the appreciation of beauty. And beauty for Bridges is not merely an earthly vision of womanly grace, but the manifestation of divine beauty and perfection in human life. He is also a great lover of beauty of nature. He is also a great metrical artist. His enjoyment of nature is personal, and his first hand and his first expression of his beauty is very simple, very direct, which is unaffected by any artificial glow of imagination. He has presented the hills, the rivers, the meadows, the clouds in all its charming values. And he sought to introduce into the English language some of the richness of the vowel sounds, That is why he is known as a great metrical artist. And in the work of his early and middle life, in dramas, in masks, in all his shorter poems, he attained a consistently high level of metrical excellence. Bridges threw fresh light on the laws and the secrets of English versification and provoked considerable interest in the study of English prosody. So these are the short but proper details for you students to know them particularly and personally. जब आप इतना किसी भी author के बारे में जानेंगे, so it would be more than enough for you to face any challenges in your examination. So tomorrow we will continue with this, and yes, we will also take some of the authors of the Victorian age. Now you have to do parallel the Victorian age as well as the modern age. Try to cover up as much authors as possible, going into the details of each authors, the proper works, the important works, and even the minor works, to know their characters, to know their stories. And yes, students, I would like to inform all of you so that in case there are many students who could not get an opportunity to take my live classes when I had started, so on the request of the students, I'm going to start my morning batch from 10:30 to 11:30, and again the same process. Those who cannot attend, they will attend in the evening as you people are doing. So this batch will start from Wednesday, and this batch is 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So I'm starting on Wednesday, then Friday, and then next week Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and this will continue for the next 3 months, where this special 3 days class per week, the fees has been kept very marginal so that anybody, any student can actually afford it. Those who even cannot afford the proper running batch, that is only 6,500 rupees. So I think this is a great opportunity for even the poor students, for even the students who don't have the opportunity to join this running batch. So you people can share this new batch. Lot of students have already taken admission and it will continue. So with your support, with your help, with your juniors and seniors, they can come with us for a new batch which will go with this. So again, once again, thank you so much, students. Any problem, you can discuss with me and meet you tomorrow, same time. Bas, yes, yaad rakhiyega, homework is very important. And yes, before leaving, I wish to some of you to just place some messages that yes, you understood the modern age well according to whatever I have taught you. कि हमें बस थोड़ा सा ये brief मिल जाए कि yes, this modern age lecture, you all people understood it quite well. थोड़ा सा बस message कर दीजिए, बाकी is okay. Thank you.